arranged Madhavisa Maharaj. He was Australia. He had Prabhupada come there 6 times. Prabhupada went from here or from anywhere to Australia, which is, it's definitely down under. It's not near anything. It's not like you go from Japan to LA, you stop in Hawaii, it's on the way. It's not on the way to anything. It's on the way to Antarctica, that's all. And that other country, Tanzania. Is that Tanzania? Is that what it's called?
Tanzania.
Huh?
Tasmania.
Tasmania. What do they say? Tasmania. That's all I knew as a kid was a Tasmanian devil. We'd see the cartoon, you see that little devil. And so there's nothing down there. But Prabhupada went there 6 times. He traveled 15 hours on a plane to go there because Madhavisa inspired him. So many devotees. He was opening temples all over the country, distributing books. And Prabhupada had him pay his book bill, his BBT book bill, thousands and thousands of dollars. He told him to ship containers of ghee to India because Australian ghee was known to be first class. You would get them tins, I guess 40 pound, 20 kilo, I don't know what they were, but big tins. So he paid thousands of dollars of his bill off by sending ghee to India so that the devotees could have cow ghee. So this is how much Prabhupada felt. See, I traveled with Prabhupada 2.5 years. Last month we had Kausalya, who cooked for Prabhupada. Next her was Palika, who cooked for Prabhupada for several months. Next to her was Shruti Rupa, who cooked for Prabhupada. Next to her was Arundhati, who cooked for Prabhupada. Next to her was Hari Kesh, who was cooking for Prabhupada. Next to him was me.
The French one.
Oh, yes, you're right, I missed her. Kishori. So how many? That's like 7 of us? So, towards the end, Nrsingananda said, what would Prabhupada's views be about vegan diet? So we all just kind of looked, said, who wants to take this? Because we all knew the answer. So Palika said, I got it, she said. She said, I'm a vegan. She said, for my health. She said, but there's no question what we're supposed to prepare for Prabhupada. So we all just agreed. Together, we spent 10 years cooking for Prabhupada. There was no question Prabhupada was going to have dairy in his diet. Ghee, milk. I cooked 3 meals a day. When I was with Prabhupada, I had 3 meals a day. Every meal had dairy and sugar, white sugar, things which both now are they're like very much condemned. And they were condemned at that time as well. This is not a new thing. This is a vegan, it's not new, vegan. At that time there were people, Laguna Beach, they weren't using milk products. They didn't even have sugar in the temple. They had the Panchatattva, they had deities, maybe Gaurnatai at that time, Radhakrishna, I'm not sure. So Prabhupada went there for one day, one evening. He stayed overnight. This is probably 1974 or 5 at Laguna Beach Temple. So he called me in the room in the evening, temple president's there, Rishabdev. And again, they would eat, then it was big, they were alfalfa sprouts, were very big back in the 70s. We'd make a salad, it was like Govardhan Hill with alfalfa sprouts. There's this big thing of sprouts on salads. Everyone's so there in particular, they were eating a lot of fresh foods, sprouted grains like that. So Prabhupada calls me into the room. It's 9 o'clock at night. He said, I'll have milk. Milk means hot milk, boiling hot milk. He said, I'll have milk. And he said, put sugar in it. He never said that to me. Sometimes when he said it, it meant something. One night he said to me, put honey in it. And I said, Prabhupada, honey, isn't that bad? Ayurvedic says it becomes poison, you eat honey. He said, put the honey in it. He said, put it in. Prabhupada smashed many of my, what do you call your, fanaticisms, the rules I had learned. One after another, he would take all these little must do, and he He said, just put it in. And I was like, why? Why did he want honey that night? He never said anything. You sweeten it. He said, sugar, honey to him, it was fine. But he said, use honey. Just so I could say, it's bad. Then he said, no, just use it. Prabhupada knew. I say I'm fanatically not fanatic. I'm like so opposite of fanatic that I'm very fallen, because I just, I find rules. We want to develop love of God. That's the point. We're not trying to see who's the best at making the most rules to follow so we can become hard-hearted. Because that's what happens. If the rules don't make you develop love of God, they actually make you callous. They make you callous to living entities. Just following rules. We're not about rules. We're about developing love of Krishna. So, of course, I go into the kitchen 3 times. You watch the milk foam 3 times. That was one thing. That milk had to be boiled. Sometimes devotee would come in with the milk, and Prabhupada said it's not hot. He said, boil it. So then they go back out, and the devotee comes back in, and he's got the glass. Prabhupada said, it's not hot enough, boil it. He said, Prabhupada, I boiled it. He said, but it's not hot enough. He says, you're holding the cup. If you're holding it, it's not hot enough. It should be so hot you can't hold the metal cup. No. Because you didn't drink milk. He took the spoon. You eat milk. Milk is not a drink, it's a food. It's food. So as soon as it goes into the body, of course, turns it into curd and whey. It's not like a juice, it's food. So as soon as he said, you're holding it, it's not hot enough. It has to be on a plate because it's so hot you can't hold the cup. And then he would start gradually, and then eventually you can pick it up, but still very, very hot. And that's why everybody we talk about nowadays, people like especially Italians are known for being lactose intolerant. Just all this homogenized garbage that they got at. Homogenization is one of the worst things because it breaks up the ability to even digest it. So it's very nice. That's why we have cow protection. But regardless of that, milk had to be taken. Ghee had to be taken. Imagine paying his bill by sending ghee to India. This is how much Prabhupada was concerned that we had milk products. I just read the other day, he said as soon as a child is born, it's a necessity he gets milk to develop the brain. It's not going to happen on your rice milk, your soy milk, macadamia nut milk, coconut milk. None of these are milk. They're just seeds that have been blasted apart and added water to. And any number of other things like carrageenan, which is known as a cancerous product. We think we're doing so many wonderful things. You just have to find a good source of milk products, the best you can, and you offer it to the Lord. That's our process. That was Prabhupada's process. When they said, Prabhupada, the milk, it's got fish oil. Prabhupada, the sugar is going through cow bones. He said, it's Kali Yuga. Everything is impure. Everything is contaminated. Therefore, we offer everything we do, we offer to Krishna. You can drink all these wonderful things, eat all these so-called things and saving, but our thing is we offer everything to Krishna. Let him purify it. That's all. That's what we do. That's what all 7 of us on there. No one said, yes, we should be vegan. These are people that were with Prabhupada for months and years. 20 years together we spent with him, all this crew. I was with them. This is what Prabhupada did. Our desire is to develop love of Krishna, not solve this world crisis, not figure out who should be president of this country, that country. We're not interested in these things. What was the very first thing Prabhupada learned when he went and saw his spiritual master? Very first thing. What did he say to him? Everybody, you should be reading. You should know what Prabhupada did. You should know who he is. That's why I'm traveling around. People don't even know who Prabhupada is. And you can read his books over and over again. You still won't understand Prabhupada's personality. You'll know that he loves Krishna. You'll know that he wants us to love Krishna. You'll know we're not the body. But we want to understand a little bit about the personality. This was Prabhupada's, this was his person. This is how he was. This is what he gave us from the very beginning. He went to Australia. He made a special sabji for him. A vegetable. What did he call it? Does anyone know? Meat Eater's Delight. It involved eggplant, potatoes, paneer, deep fried paneer. Like I told you, cook it, cook it, cook it. Let it absorb as much ghee as possible, become as crunchy as possible. Then you put it in there. He said that'll pacify their taste for meat. Because he saw the Australian people, they're just addicted. Because they had lots of dairy products, which meant they had lots of cows, which meant they had lots of meat. But he didn't try to, he just said, give them prasadam with ghee. That was the secret. It worked for me. I think it worked for many of us. We couldn't wait for the feast days to come. Daily is not that we're eating so much, not that we're frying things. No. He said little bit. He said you need a cup of milk a day. Not that you have to drink a gallon of it. But no, he said a little bit each day. It's what he did. He set the example for everything we do. Everything. His whole life is an example of how you can live in any stage of life. But you have to see what he did. So when he went to see a spiritual master, after his friend convinced him to go to him, and he spoke, so he asked him, his spiritual master, who would be, he asked him what he was doing. He said, I'm doing this, doing this. So he said, you should preach the message of Lord Chaitanya to the Westerners. Very first thing he said to him. He would say it to everyone. Go to the West. Print books in English. Translate in English. So he told Prabhupada that. What did Prabhupada say? Anyone else? Yes, you can. Yes, what did Prabhupada say?
He said, shouldn't we first liberate India from
Yes.
British?
He said, who's going to listen to us, Indians, under the British rule? No one will care for our message. So Prabhupada challenged him. And then what did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati say?
Something along the lines of...
Well, he said, yes, it had nothing to do with this. This message is transcendental. Prabhupada was convinced, he knew, you take it to the people. Imagine, this was 1922. It was 43 years before Prabhupada left. 43 years later. Of course, he did translating work, but before he was able to get on that ship, 43 years had gone by. But all he wanted to do was carry out that order. And that order was, there are no impediments to this movement. I mentioned that last night. There's a famous letter. Now we see all these letters pop up on the social media. So this letter was, someone said, Prabhupada, he was in Germany, there's so many obstacles, he said, to practicing Krishna consciousness. I have so many obstacles in trying to do my service. So he wrote Prabhupada, and what did Prabhupada say? Kick all those obstacles, he said. There are no obstacles. Our only obstacles is this mind, which his guru said, what do you do in the morning? Beat your mind with shoes. In the evening, beat it with a broom. Mind is nonsense. And I see over and over, I hear it over and over. We get stuck. We allow Maya to come in and tell us, you're not qualified. You're not chanting enough rounds. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. You can't do any service. You're a nonsense. It's telling us this all the time. And I'm a nonsense. But still I try to do some service as a nonsense. Because there's nothing else to do. And there's no sense in listening to Maya because she's also just talking nonsense in here. Putting nonsense in our brain. Prabhupada would tell his disciples, it's filled with cow dung. Your brain is like cow dung. Because he made everything so simple. But we complicate it all. Because we really don't want to surrender. So if we complicate it, then we don't have to. We have so many reasons to go about our lives. Our very complicated lives. But Prabhupada made it simple. I know when we came, I thought I was going to, guaranteed go back to Godhead in this life. I even thought I was Krishna conscious while he was with us for the first few years, till I realized I had a very long way to go. But the process is simple and it's guaranteed. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Prityajamami Kam Saranam Vraja. Just surrender. Let him take control. I try. So we go back and forth. But you keep coming back to that point. Just like Prabhupada. It's all he wanted to do was get the books together and come to America. His whole life was in between his doing it. He said, I got a son. He already had one son. And then another son. He had a daughter. He had 3 daughters. I don't know how many sons he had. He had 3 sons, 3, yes. He got 2 of them married. 1 daughter refused to get married. But he tried to perform all his duties as he should. He was chanting his rounds. He was initiated. He was chanting his rounds, doing his service. He was helping all the temples wherever he was. He was known. He was giving donations. So he did everything so that we could follow him. It's very easy if we don't complicate it. This is 8:15 already. Do we have any questions or comments? Yes.
Can you mention something about the sleeping pattern?